Hello, everybody. My name is Rodric King. Thank you for joining me with Singing Made Simple. So today we're going to go over engaging the diaphragm. So we're going to talk about the register, crossing the register, and engaging the diaphragm today. We're going to do a training on that. So before we get started with the training, if you haven't watched my previous episodes, please go back in the playlist section of my homepage of this YouTube channel. And please click on vocal training and watch my previous 2 videos, or you will be missing information, okay? Also, keep in mind that a vocal trainer is important. Although you are getting these exercises, you're getting tips, you're getting information here on this channel and probably plenty other channels. Always keep in mind that a vocal trainer will help with correction. So I can't see how you're exercising. I can't see if you're doing it properly. I can't ask you questions about what you're feeling. So vocal trainers usually can fill in the gap and help shorten your learning curve. And how do I know? Because I've been in your shoes before, which is what the previous 2 videos is going to give you all the background information about, which is a great segue into the next part of this section, which is if you want to learn more about my journey and how I went from self-taught to a professional singer, please go and find my book, The Life That Brightens the Light. Please purchase that book. It's by Rodric D. King. I wrote it before AI came out, okay? Before AI came out, yes. So go and check out that book and learn a lot about my journey on how I became a professional singer, from self-taught to a professional singer. It's a very incredible story, and it's very motivational. I encourage anybody to go and check that book out if you want a little bit of motivation and to see, learn a little bit more about my journey and what I had to go through to get where I am today. So anyway, let's move right on into the lesson. So first we're going to start with the registers. What is a vocal register? Register is a way that you create phonation using your body, using your equipment, using your sounds. There's different notes on the piano. There's different octaves. And how you approach certain notes also is determined by the register that you use. So what are the 3 registers? The first register is the chest voice, or also known as the talking voice, okay? It's the voice that I'm basically using now. There's 2 names for it, chest voice or either the talking voice. So if I was to sing in the chest voice or the talking voice, it would sound like this. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. That's the chest voice, okay? The next register that you have in your arsenal of vocal approaches is falsetto or the head voice. That's 2 separate names that you give one term. You can call it falsetto, you can call it head voice, all right? So that sounds like my falsetto sucks right now. You know what falsetto is, right? If you don't, I'll have examples for you. The third register is 2 names for that as well. You call that the belt, or we call that the falsetto. The falsetto is usually called the belt because if you're breathing properly, you're supposed to breathe deep from the bottom of your gut, and you're supposed to let that sound. You are to support that sound from your abdomens and your diaphragm, which is you have a diaphragm located in your pelvic area. Also, you have a diaphragm at the bottom of your rib cage. So you're supposed to bring all of that support from the bottom up, never up here or stuck up in the chest. All these chest breathers, chest saying, you want to sing from nice full breath going all the way to the bottom, and you want to belt from there. That's why they call it a belt, because it's a lower place that it's supported from. Another name for the belt is called the mixed voice. So basically, a mix is taking your falsetto and it's taking your chest voice. If I want to sing here, or if I want to sing up here, and you take both of those elements and you put them together, that creates your mixed voice. It'll sound like this. Did I peak? Yes, I peaked. Hold on. I was born by the river It mixes both of those. So it takes your chest voice and it takes your head voice and it mixes it together and you get that sound. Now, if you ever hear me say anything about compression in my previous videos, that that's how we approach that mixed sound. That's another lesson, another time. So now you have the three registers. You have the chest voice, you have the head voice, and you have the mix. The mix is a mixture of your chest and your head voice, right? So let's move right along. Now we're going to go over to crossing registers. Crossing register is going from ah, ooh, ah, ooh. See how I went from, my memory is horrible. I think I went from mix to falsetto, back to mix, and then from mix to chest. So crossing over registers is, I remember when I first started learning how to sing and I was self-taught, and I would hear in songs that I would try to cover, they would cross registers. And I was like, man, I can't do that. Like, how do I do that? So let's get an idea of what that sounds like. Okay, let's see what I want to do. A couple things. The first thing, I want you to listen to this singer. I think this is one of the greatest singers in the world, but today I'm going to use this singer as a reference. We're going to pay attention to the vocal registers, and I want to showcase how great of a singer he is, okay? So let me go to that time mark. Hold on. I'm there, and we're playing in 3, 2, 1. Mixed. 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 Head voice. Head voice. From chest to mix. We're going to stop right there. So this is one of the greatest singers in the world to me. But you see how he just can slide through his chest, mix chest, head voice. Like, this is one of the greatest singers in the world, and his range is impeccable. If you heard how deep he can go as to how high he can sing, it's a very, very wide range, okay? But as you can see, that's an idea of how the registers are used together and how this young fella here is crossing the registers. And there's exercises for crossing the registers. Usually when you do scales, like I'll play a scale for you now, just so you can hear what a scale is for those that has never heard a scale before. 3, 2, 1. This is a scale. All right, now you can find scales on YouTube. All you got to do is Google scales for males, warm-up scales for falsetto. Like, it's not hard to find scales on YouTube and just follow those. I have particular scales that I recommend for you based on what I'm teaching you, but that's for individuals that is in my vocal training course. So if you are looking to have a vocal coach, I would love to have you as one of my students. How to become one of my students, the link is in the description. I do group sessions, I do personal in-person sessions, and I also do online. So based on what you want, go to the description below and let me know and see how you could connect so we can get that started. All right, so we've covered the 3 registers. That's the chest voice, falsetto, head voice. No, chest voice, falsetto, and the belt, or the mixed voice. We talked about crossing registers, so you had an idea what that sounds like, and I've explained what crossing registers are. And the reason I played the scales for you is because when you find the scale that is in a break, because the higher you go, like the chest voice, I can't sing a high note in my chest voice. But if I use a scale, see how I just crossed over from my chest voice to my head voice. Listen to that again. See how I did that without a break? Scales help you to perform that and get your vocal cords used and accustomed to doing that, so that, you know, when you need it in a song, or if you're doing a cover song and you want to do the song as it is, they may be crossing registers the entire time, or with much more frequency than you are accustomed to. Scales And knowing what crossing registers are can arm you with what you need so that you can get your muscle memory for your vocal cords and your diaphragm supporting those type of movements with your vocals. All right. So the next thing we're going to discuss is intake. Okay. Intake is basically how you take in air. Yes, I break down every single individual part of your vocal ability. So when it comes to taking in air, releasing it, when it comes to, I don't want to say too much because I want to save some stuff for the students. So when it comes to taking in air, what you want to do is take in air through your nose. You want to take in air through your nose as if you were smelling a flower, okay, or a rose. Like if someone put a rose up to your nose, however that natural breath is that you intake if you were smelling a rose, that's the type of breath that you want to take when you're singing, okay? There's going to be cases where you have a lot of notes or you have a lot of lyric that you have to sing and you won't be able to do it perfect, but there's exercises to help you intake better, and we'll go over that. So how do you take in air? You take it in through your nose, and it's nice, soft. Now, here's the thing, and you've learned this in my other 2 videos. If you heave in air, it's going to come out like that. See, it was already tightness. Just trying to release that air that I pulled in. I couldn't even keep my vocals stable to produce a phonation that is desirable. The chords broke because I heaved in air. It came out the way it went in. However, if I wanna sing, I have more control and I can do more and I can sustain more notes. Power, control, tonality, like I have more control of everything. All right. So there's practices to intaking. Okay. You can do exercises like just comfortably holding it for a split second, blowing it out. Intake, holding it for a split second, let it out. Every time before you start a phrase, like even if you just wanted to practice that, here's something that I would suggest to you, being that you're learning something that's simple and you could do on your own. So relax, inhale, hold it for a split second, and then sing a phrase on a breath. If you don't know what on the breath is, if you don't know what singing on the breath is, you need to watch my previous 2 videos. So intake, hold it for a split second, and then sing the first note of whatever. Sing on that breath. So let me give you what would I like to sing? Sing a gospel song. Okay. Intake. Why would I feel? That was on one breath. So I'm gonna do that one more time. Intake. Now let's do some hand signals because a lot of times I can't talk and instruct. When I do this, that means hold. All right. That means I'm holding the breath. Why should I feel discouraged? Now, notice how I sung through that phrase. I didn't rush it, but when I got to the end, not only did I sustain, but at the end of the phrase, discouraged, you hear I'm finishing the word. So remember, if you watched the previous video, enunciate all of the words, all of the letters, all of the vowels, pronounce everything. Focus more on pronouncing the words. When you're working on engaging the diaphragm, work on engaging it. I would do this maybe 20 minutes, just one breath. Just focus it on singing on one breath. That's it. Oh, I forgot to give you my hand signal. Why should I feel discouraged? All right. So that's the intake. You want to do a few of those and practice that intake, okay? Always relax. Never tension here. This is always relaxed, okay? All right. So what I want you to do is take this exercise, do it as long as you can before you move on. Because the most important part of all of this, do not move on until it becomes habitual that you're intaking properly. So take these building blocks step by step. If I was coaching you, we wouldn't move on until I was confident you have this. because we're going to be building on top of all of these individual exercises, these individual skills, these individual things that we're isolating. We're isolating them and we're bringing them back to a bigger picture. But we're going to start stacking a lot of different techniques on top of it. So it's important. Do not move on from from intake until you've practiced singing on that one breath, and make it natural that you do it every single time. All right. So after you've learned how to intake, it's important to learn how to release the air. If you watch my previous video, we talked about the mattress effect. All right, so this is a quick quiz for you if you watch my other two videos. What are the two elements that are associated with the mattress effect? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you said resistance and push, or if you said the air rushes out first and then the flip happens and then you have to push the rest of the air out, you are absolutely correct. So when it comes to releasing air, if you watched my previous video, you understand what the mattress effect is. So the first thing we're going to discuss is releasing the air. When you take in that natural breath, you hold it for a split second. Now, why is the hold so important? I'll give you an example. Let's say a car is disabled and we want to help push the car. Now, in order to push the car, we first have to connect to the car, like put our hands physically on it, and then put our body in position. Soon as we put our hands on it and put our body in a pushing position to where we have leverage to actually use muscle or energy to drive through the vehicle to start its momentum to go in a direction. As soon as you're in position, that is engaged. That is engaging it. As soon as you start to apply the pressure, now it's working. The energy is working now. So whatever action you're expecting, you should be seeing the result of that. Now, the reason we pause the breath is because we want the diaphragm to take the full load of the vocal support. We don't want to help the diaphragm, because if the diaphragm is not fully engaged, you won't get a full support from the diaphragm. And anything that's not supported by the diaphragm is not going to give you the best result. So you want to fully engage the diaphragm. So holding the breath for a split second and then engaging your phrase is the best way to engage your diaphragm. So when it comes to intake, you know how to take the air in, hold it for a split second, and the first word you utter should be just before you hold your breath for a split second, then the first word. And the word should be crisply clear because you're pronouncing the words, all right? So when you start to release that air on the phrase, you want to resist the amount of air that's coming out. There's an exercise that you can do that your body remembers exactly how much air is needed for each note. I'm not going to teach you that on this video. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. We'll see. But so you want your body to resist that air. So here's a technique to practice resisting the air, okay? So what you're going to do is take a natural, comfortable breath in. You want to get on a hiss, and you want to hold that hiss for at least 60 to 90 seconds. 60 to 90 seconds, you want to get that hiss. So, comfortable breath in. It should be even and steady. It shouldn't be and it shouldn't be rushed out. It shouldn't be too loud. Nope. Nice hiss, as if you poked a little hole in a tire and it's just coming out really, really smooth, really, really consistent, okay, with full support. So as slow as you can for 60 to 90 seconds. Now, starting out, time yourself. Time yourself and see how long you can get up to. That's for the resistance, okay? Now, we're going to move on from resistance in the mattress effect to push. Push is exactly what it is. So basically, you want to natural inhale, like you're smelling roses. Hold it. The idea of this one can be a little bit stronger, but the idea is to get from Like when you start to release your air in the push exercise, we're not interested on the front end, which is the resistance part of the mattress effect. We're losing that air doing this part right here. We're losing that air, but we're not concerned with the beginning. We're concerned with the end. So when you get to the end, you're going to feel like you're all out of air. Keep pushing. You want to push till your lungs are depleted. Nothing's in there. And the only way you're going to know nothing's in there is by continuing through that push and getting accustomed to feeling that resistance. All right. So I'm going to do it. Ignore the first phase. I'm going to use my fingers. This is phase one. This is when I'm from resistance to push. I have 2 fingers, and that'll be my diaphragm supporting that push. Here we go. Whew. All right. That push, oh my God. You will sweat because this is a workout. And you'll find out why you see singers sweating on stage. This is really a workout. The entire time while a singer is on the stage, their diaphragm, their lungs are doing this. Just like when you're breathing. Obviously, if you're breathing all day, you're doing this. But when you're a singer, you're going to feel it with this. So spend time with this exercise, okay? You want to do that push. I would start with the intake exercises first. Spend a lot of time on that. Remember, all these little things that you're doing in the beginning, we're going to keep adding on to it. So perfect intake. Perfect the mattress effect, starting with resistance, and then start working on push, all right? So we've gone through the 3 registers. We've gone over crossing over registers. We talked about intake. We talked about releasing air, the mattress effect, and the 2 phases are the 2 elements, which is resistance and push. I've given you exercises for those. Next is my favorite part, and it's called engaging the diaphragm. So what we're going to do, I'm going to play another video, and this video is going to be by the exact same person, my favorite person. And what I want us to pay attention to is I'm going to play the video, and I want you, this topic is engaging the diaphragm. I want you to tell me what you noticed down in the comments. Okay. Obviously, by the time you get to the end of the video, you're going to know because I'm going to say it. But I want you to truthfully put in the comments below, what did you see? If we're on the topic of engaging the diaphragm, what I call one of the best singers in the world uses this technique. I want you to tell me what you see from him, his facial, his body. What can you see on the topic of engaging the diaphragm? And after the video, I'm going to explain and teach on that point. All right. So here's the video in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's run that back one more time. For those that missed it, I want you to catch this. So this is one of what I call one of the greatest singers in the world right now. And this is the vocal technique that he's using. So let's watch this one more time. Ready? 3, 2, 1. All right, so now before I explain that, now write in the comments what you saw, what you noticed on the topic of engaging the diaphragm, okay? Write that in the comments below. Now, here's something that I want to share with you. This comes from my professional experience. There's been times when I first started doing karaoke and trying to get out there and sing, and then I started singing professionally after singing karaoke for 5 years because I was going to figure out this voice thing. I found that going from a song and then get to an ending of a song and and then go from something intense to really, really calm, quiet, and in control. It was so hard for me to do that. I could not figure out how to go from doing all this belting and screaming. Okay, I couldn't figure out how to go from that to this calm tone that he's taken after doing all of that. Matter of fact, no, I don't want to do that. Should I do that? No, I'll just explain it to you. So if you remember at the first part of the video that I played, he was belting, he was doing all this stuff. And then a few seconds after that, it cuts, he ends the song with the, okay, he cuts to that. So how does he do that? Diaphragmic support. You got to support the diaphragm. This exercise, that's actually, you know what? Now in retrospect, that is actually how I realized that I needed a good diaphragmatic support system. I needed a technique using the diaphragm that can help me sing high, low, in the middle, whatever. That's when I went on the hunt. For those that watched the previous 2 videos, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But I went on the hunt to figure out, okay, this diaphragm thing is what I need to figure out. And the diaphragmic thing that I was using, I could sing high, but I could never sing low. So I went on a hunt, started doing exercises, and I went through so many coaches online on YouTube trying to find somebody teaching it. And then finally I found somebody that they taught me the exercise that I know now. And now that I'm seeing, and I remember maybe like 2 or 3 years ago when I found Dimash, I realized that I'm like, wow, he's doing the same exact technique that I learned to have that type of vocal control. So what I'm telling you is this is tested and proven, okay? It works. So if you learn this, you're going to be phenomenal. So now, why did I play that video? I played that video because if you notice, he stopped, relaxed. You heard him do the smell like a rose, hold the breath, then entered the phrase. He did exactly what I'm teaching you. So let's watch that one more time. So now that we're all together on that. He properly engaged his diaphragm. Where is that starting point? He properly engaged his diaphragm from after singing something super intense to something this calm. You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna play it. Let's start it. I'm gonna start it from where he's doing all the belting and go right into that. I'm gonna let it play right into him holding that. All right, so we're gonna start in 3, 2, 1, let's go. He did it one time. Watch he do it again. It works. So, what I'm teaching you is legit. Okay? You can go watch as many of Dimash's videos as you want. Here's his name right here. Here's his name. Google it, YouTube it, watch as many videos. Every song he does is super impressive. You know how you watch somebody and they have that one song like this? I don't know about all this other stuff, but this song he killed. This man, you say that about everything he sings. So and here's the thing: when someone can impress you and you don't know what they're saying, you don't understand the language, you don't know how to write any of the words that he's saying, you can't enunciate it, and you fall in love with a singer you can't even understand, they got to be good. So look him up. Listen to some of his videos. You're going to see why he's one of the greatest in the world. And you're learning the exact same vocal technique. Now, I get into much more in depth with my students. So if you're interested in vocal training, go into the description below, so you can find out how we can connect. Also, write your comment about when you first saw the video. What did you notice? Did you notice what I pointed out, or did you realize that only after I showed it to you? All right. So engaging the diaphragm, that pause is everything. That breaking that and letting the diaphragm fully engage and then go straight out into the phonation, going straight out. Breathe in, hold it, straight out into the phrase. That is the best diaphragmatic support you're going to get. That is like, if you sing horrible, fully engaged, and this don't only work with singing. If you are rapping and you have a fully loaded lyrics, your lyrics are fully loaded. I want to. All you gotta do is say it. You just say the words. Once it's supported, you just say it just rolls right out. And when you feel the breath getting to the end, that's where you get to the suction effect. But we're not focusing on connecting breaths right now. We're only focused on one breath. So you're gonna be one of the world's greatest singers on one breath. Now, when you have to when you have to retake that next breath, we haven't gotten there. So you pump your brakes. All right. So how does it feel when it's engaged? You'll know it's engaged as soon as you open your mouth and start talking. You'll just feel like I can't explain it. But write in the comments what your sensation is when you ain't fully engaged your diaphragm, or how it feels. And also, what I would like for you to do is to record yourself when you've been singing the old way, and record yourself fully engaging your diaphragm. All right? That's what I want you to do, so you can hear the difference. You will learn a lot about your voice recording yourself. So please, if you're doing songs, record yourself. If you're doing record yourself and listen to it. That is a powerful tip right there. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Now, engaging the diaphragm exercises. So I would just continue to do. I have exercises, but I want to give you those. I have to save stuff for the paid people. But I would continue to do that. Just practice on that one breath. All right, let's just keep doing that. Now, how do we apply this to singing? How do we take all this and actually apply it to singing? You want to do scales. Remember, I just brought up scales not too long ago. You want to do scales. You want to take everything you just learned. You want to apply it to a scale. You want to do scales until it make you sick. I'm telling you, if you do everything that I'm instructing in this video, you will see instant results. Like tomorrow, you'll already be a better singer if what I'm teaching you becomes habitual. You have to make this a habit. All right. So scales, do scales, Google scales. I'm not Google. Go on YouTube, type in scales for male, warm up scales for women, and do the scales. All right. You have different scales. You have la, ooh, a, e, o, who, like e, la, o, ooh. There's so many different vowels that you can use, but E used to be my hard one. So, like, I'm gonna give you an example. E is more on the compression side, which I haven't discussed. I touched on compression a little bit in my one of the two previous videos, but compressing is a whole nother thing, and I'm going to give a whole lesson on that. So, but E, work on E and make sure you just try to get comfortable with it, comfortable with the placement and stuff like that. But yeah, I'll build on top of all of this stuff. Now, Scales puts all these exercises, everything that we discussed, it puts it all together and gives you the ability to actually work on your ability to apply these techniques to your phonation, to your voice, okay? And after that, after you're done exercising your voice, make sure that you go and try to sing a karaoke song and just kind of mess around with it and just play with the techniques and see how you feel. Just experiment. It's like I am going to school. Well, I'm going back to school soon to finish up my pilot's license. And after I get so comfortable going up, I want to get out there in the helicopter. I want to get out there in the airplane. And I just want to kind of get the feel for it. I want to play around with it. I want to see what its limitations are. I want to see when in different environments, different climates, how things change, which is another good thing, another great point. As a singer, singing outside and singing inside is very different. Singing in hot air, singing in cold air is very different. If you're eating ice cream, drinking milk before you are going to use your vocals, you're gonna coat your cords with mucus, and the cords doesn't have the ability to vibrate freely, so you'll have issues. So it's a lot of different things that you need to get figured out. Definitely being that you're just watching videos on YouTube because you're not actively engaged with a coach. They can't tell you these things. Now, if you're in a course with me, taking private sessions, I'll give you all the information and cut out a lot of that trial and error. So, in close, so here's the number one tip. You want to stretch your diaphragm, you want to stretch your lungs and the fibers of your lungs before you sing. I'm not going to teach you how to do that on this video, but I do that for my students. But a good reason why it's important to stretch your lungs before is because we really haven't gotten to that point. So I'm not gonna bring that up. But a good way to shortcut, if you don't want to stretch your diaphragm and stretch your lungs and the fibers of your lungs before you start beginning to phonate, because you're supposed to work on your breathing and stretch your lungs and open up your breathing and your lungs before you start to phonate. That's what you're supposed to do when you properly warm up your voice. After that, then you start working on your scales and getting your vocals and all the notes in your range awaken. And that's a whole nother lesson. I may not cover that in the future. We'll see. But leave me information in the comments. Comment and let me know what you want, what you need, what your questions you have, and we'll go from there if you need additional information. A good way, if you don't want to stretch the diaphragm, stretch the lungs, go and run a mile, go and run 2 miles. Do anything that opens up the breathing, and you can skip stretching the diaphragm just like that. Because you have a choice. You can stretch the diaphragm and loosen the fibers in your lungs, or you can go run a mile, 2 miles, or get not your heart rate, because it's not just about cardio. It's about breathing. It's about breathing in and getting out of breath. It's about exercising to a point where the breathing is just wide open. Like, for an example, if you sing a song, like do a karaoke song from the beginning to the end, before you work out, and then do it after you work out, and then feel the difference. If you didn't want to run a workout to feel that result, you can stretch your diaphragm and your lungs to get that impact. It's like at the end of a show. My voice is wide open. If I'm not too vocally fatigued, I can sing damn near anything. But your vocal warm-up should almost make you feel like you're starting the show as if you already ended another one. So warming up your vocals is very important. And it helps reiterate a lot of techniques that you should be using for your voice. Because after you go so many shows, I'm going to use myself as an example. If I go too many shows without warming up my voice, let's say I go 6 months of shows, and that could be 40, 50 shows in like 6 months that I don't warm up before those shows. And then I'll be like, you know what? I need to start warming up again. I'll realize, dang, I stopped engaging my diaphragm, or I stopped dropping my jaw properly, or I stopped getting my tongue out of the way of the throat so I can have more resonance in the back of my throat, or I stopped opening my throat wide enough on the big notes, or I'll realize things that I stopped doing. So it's very important that you should warm up and do this every day. This is an everyday thing. Those of you that think you're just going to do this once or twice a day, or once or twice a week, that's good. You'll get progress, but I'm telling you, just make it a habit. Anytime. That's the way the mind works. The mind protects us. It protects our conscious mind by creating habits. If you create a habit of you doing this every day, you will do it every day without thinking. It's just something you got to do. It's like people that drink coffee. I can't do anything until I have my coffee. You created that habit. But your mind loves habits because if you put too much on your conscious mind, you will shut down, you will crash, and the subconscious mind takes over. So you'll be operating autopilot. Some people call that snapping. If you ever got angered really, really quickly and you just blacked out, that's a legitimate thing. The subconscious mind takes over because the conscious mind has crashed. It's overloaded. So our mind needs habits in order for us to operate efficiently, okay? So create habits. Now, here's the thing about habits. The mind doesn't want to lose habits. It doesn't want to change. It doesn't like change. But with enough consistency, the mind will say, okay, we see you want to change this, so we'll allow it. And then once you rewrite that habit from a bad habit, it's the same thing with good habits and bad habits. Create this into a habit. And once you've established this as a habit, you won't have to think about it. It's just something you do. So turn this into a habit. All right. Okay. I think I've covered everything. Let's recap. We talked about the 3 registers: chest voice, talking voice, falsetto, head voice, belt, mixed voice. Those are 3 different registers: chest, falsetto, and belt. We've talked about crossing registers. I've described it, gave you examples of it. We've talked about intaking air. We've talked about how you can practice that. We talked about releasing air using the mattress effect, which has 2 elements. One is resistance. The second one is push. We talked about the exercise for that. I've showed you examples of engaging the diaphragm from one of the best singers ever, and we've discussed that. We've talked about how to put all that together with scales. We've talked about stretching or running, and we talked about how important it is for you to turn this into a habit. I thank you for watching this video, Singing Made Easy by Rodric King. If you have questions, comments, concerns, go to the description below. If you're looking for vocal training yourself, go to the description below. If you want to purchase my book and learn more about my singing journey and how I arrived to where I am from where I started, a self-taught singer, please go in the description below. I have a link to my book. It's titled The Life That Brightens the Light. If there's any way that I can help you on your journey, I'm here for it. All right. My name is Rodric King. Thank you. Have a nice day. Okay.